Hey everybody, this is Ryan. Let's go over the B section of Isn't She Lovely? It looks like this. And I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. But isn't she lovely? Made from love. So the benefits of this is that we are learning some new ways to do what would be traditional bar chords. We are going to be learning a new way to play an A chord, which is going to be the same way as we learned how to play the F sharp chord. So we're actually practicing this concept of the movable shape, which means that we have to practice muting the strings. We're also doing a strum pattern that is very appropriate for the stylistic characteristics of this song. And we're going to work on also putting in the lick that we learned when we actually go through and do the practice video. So let's dive right into it. To start, we have a couple of new chords, but let's go over the first new one. That's this A chord right over here. So to play this A, we are going to start by putting the same shape that as we used for this chord, but now we're just going to slide up to the 7th fret right here. So that's ring finger 7th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G with the middle finger, and then your first finger is barring across the 5th fret on the B and the high E. And then we're still muting the A string with our ring finger right here. And if your hands are big enough, you can mute the low E with your thumb, or you can just choose to not play it. Now in this chord, you can, if you want, let the A string ring out. You can also let the low E ring out. And it gives you a fuller sounding A chord. But it is good practice to go ahead and mute these strings because there may be other chords that you want to play where you don't want these strings to ring out. So one string at a time. Just check and make sure that we're getting these strings to ring out. Something else that's also really cool about this shape is that you actually don't even need to play this high E string. You can just move your first finger like this to this, and then just kind of flatten it a little bit so that way you're muting the high E string and not letting it open. And now you got this. So you can also play this chord this way. And it's a lot easier, and it doesn't hurt your first finger as bad to play it this way. But learning how to play this is really important too, just for ease of use, and you don't have to worry about muting as many strings. But you got the root, the 3rd, and the 5th right here. So you got all you need right there. You're just adding the extra octave when you put that up there, which makes the chord brighter. So now that we've done that, we are going to take this shape and we're going to move it down 1 fret to play our G sharp major chord. And why the tonality of the chord matters is that if you were to play this as with the 7th in it, you would play this as an A major 7, which we're not going to go over just now. And then you'd play this as a G sharp dominant, which we're also not going to go over. So, but because we're reducing this to just the root 3rd and the 5th and not the 7th, that's how we can use this same shape, because we're not including the 7th, but it is implied in the harmony, which is really cool. And now our ring finger is going to stay where it's at. Our middle finger is going to go up a string, and we're going to bring the bar back further to play our C sharp minor 7 like this. And then we're going to practice the same movement as we did in section A. So we're going to go to this F sharp major chord, which again would be an F sharp dominant, but we're not going to go over that because the harmony is implied. Now let's go from here to our B sus. And now I'm going to show you the B, what I call sus4. It's not really a sus4, but it's acting like it. So this chord is optional. You can just do the normal B over D sharp. But it is more authentic to add the E note in there. So it's the same thing as the B over D sharp, except now you're taking the middle finger and you're putting it down on the 5th fret of this B string here. And And this is a pretty difficult chord, I think, to hold on to long term. So if you can't get this chord, just don't even worry about it. Another way to play this chord is to do your normal B chord and then to add your pinky like that. That's a common way to do it as a movable shape. If you do it this way, I'd imagine that you could stretch this out. Or another way to play this chord, because we're in the key of E, is to just do your power chord like this, and then let the two strings ring out, because you got the high E acting as your sus right there. And this truly is a B sus4. So just to show you this is first finger, second fret on the A string. It's muting the low E string as well. Then you've got your ring finger on the fourth fret of the G string, and then your pinky's on the fourth fret of the G. And then you're on the tips of your fingers, so that way the other strings can ring out, except for this low E. Like that. Now why this isn't a B sus4 is because you've got the third right there. So we're not actually suspending anything. So you'll actually see this called like a B over D sharp add 11. But it's functioning like a sus for us. So that's all the nerdy theory stuff. And then after that chord, all you're going to do is lift off the middle finger to resolve the suspension, just like in Western classical music. And then you can go to whatever E you want. You can go to this one, or you can go to this one. And then you start the lick. And then we just start the song over from the top. So let's practice going through let's practice going through all these chords, actually. And we'll just do it at our own tempo, our own pace. So this is A. Then we're going to slide down to G sharp. Then keep the ring finger where it's at. Put the bar down and the middle finger down for C sharp minor 7. Then we're going to go ring finger down 2 frets to F sharp. And now let's do the B over D sharp, but now we're adding in our middle finger. And then let's lift up the middle finger. And then go to the E chord. And now let's try that one more time. So we are going to the A chord, which is like an F shape, A. Then move down 1 fret to G sharp. Keep the ring finger where it's at. Move the middle finger down a string, and then put the bar for C sharp minor, 7. And then move over to F sharp, as we did in the previous video. Then go to B over D sharp, but put the middle finger on the 5th fret of the B. And then lift up the middle finger to get the B over D sharp, and then play E. And then we've got the lick. And then we start over. All right, everybody. So this was the tutorial for the B section of Isn't She Lovely? And I'll see you all in the practice video.